In this presentation, I find these two weather sites to be very helpful for when I make weather forecasting, so I would like to compare them as well as inform you guys so you can make your own weather decisions yourself. Two websites I'm choosing to compare are weather.gov and all their subsidiary organizations. They're all part of the same website, so it's technically one website. And Tropical Tidbits, they're another great website for forecasting. Goals of this presentation are to show you how each of the websites uses their graphics as well as discussions and social media to convey a weather forecast. Graphics tend to be a very easy way to show the weather as well as a very easy way to interpret weather for anyone viewing the forecast. So with Tropical Tidbits, they have a great website platform that displays a 15-day forecast in 6-hour intervals. And when it's your first time visiting the site, they also include a welcome tutorial thing for you to use to get used to the weather forecast interface. They also have many different forecasts to compare from, ranging from radar to snowfall to the upper dynamics or lower dynamics, as well as the thermodynamics being like temperature. And they even have a temperature anomaly, which is interesting to see. This is an example of the snowfall graphical model. They're one of the few sites I know to have it, and it goes all the way out to 15 days. This is the temperature model. It also goes out to 15 days, and it shows the transition from temperatures all the way to hot to cold, and it even has a freezing line, which is very useful. The only problem is with these forecasts that go out to 15 days is that whether or not they're right isn't upholded by the model itself, and that's when we come to the National Weather Service's forecasting models. They tend to be a little more broad, based off being in broader periods, so 3 to 4 weeks, or 6 to 10 days, or 8 to 14 days, and they tend to be more vague in whether or not it's hot or cold, or above or below precipitation. And their site is a little hard to navigate, so using this one web page, you're able to look at all their forecasting, and it's very easy to see which forecasting tool you'd want to visit next. And I find this web page to be the most useful when you visit their site. And you can see there's the 6 to 10 day outlook, the 8 to 14 day outlook, the 3 to 4 day outlook, so on and so forth. And in comparison to the Tropical Tidbits, they have more of a liability whether or not they're correct, just based off them being a government website and there are people's jobs to explain these forecasts. They also have a graphical model. It's not as good as Tropical Tidbits. It's a little clunky to use. It's more of a it shows that it's a JavaScript running program. This is the daily outlook. They also have a weekly outlook, which is a little more in depth. You can definitely see week out, and if you use this, you'll see as it gets to a week out, the significance of each event happening is a little lower than if it was like a couple days out. So that's the only drawback compared to Tropical Tidbits is it doesn't go out as far, and but a few days out though, it's quite certain. There's also different features for you to use on this model. They can track ice accumulation, snowfall amount. It even has a function for wave height, so if you're curious about that, you can check that out too. The next topic I'd like to focus on is discussions. This is one I prefer the National Weather Service's website over Tropical Tidbits, just based off they explain their 6 to 10 day outlooks, as well as their 8 to 14 day outlooks, and even their 3 to 4 week outlooks. As you can see here, there's another 3 to 4 week outlook explanation, and it is just the same information that's displayed on one of their map models, but they do go into more detail about what patterns are involved and what general influences are responsible for the forecast, compared to just looking at a graph and coming up with your own interpretations. And the National Weather Service also includes a skill score, so this based off like whether or not their forecast was actually correct. And they do this with the 6 to 10 day, the 8 to 14 and their seasonal outlooks, and it's if you're curious to see if they're correct, it's a very good tool to use to base your claims or their claims on whether or not the forecast will come true. And here's just an example of one of those graphs, and you can see they tend to range around 45% correct for the 6 to 10 day outlooks for temperature, which is fairly good. Then there's Tropical Tidbits. Normally they don't post things for all their forecasts just because it's a one-man show. So generally speaking, they'll only go for hurricanes, and when there are hurricanes, this guy Levi, he'll post videos based on his interpretations of where the hurricane's going to hit and how much precipitation will fall. And he'll also include graphics and information about the hurricane and its track. And then we have social media platforms. Tropical Tidbits, Twitter is generally just Levi's feed. It's not very helpful. But with the National Weather Service, they also have a storm reports, and you can also enter your zip code information to get a personalized national weather Twitter feed, which is very helpful to determine what kind of cautions there are in your area. And so I really hope you took what conclusions I gained, which were the graphics, discussions, and socials of these weather sites, and I really hope that you can use this to make your own weather forecasts in the future.